everybody, and welcome to today's video. This is a video that I have been waiting a long time to make. Today I'm going to share with you a secret, and that is this Amish cookbook. Biggest secret. This has all of those recipes that you've been seeing online about water bath canning vegetable soup, water bath canning chili soup, water bath canning alphabet soup. So we're water bath canning with noodles. But wait a minute, before you think I've changed my mind on all of that, no. I believe in doing all of these rebel canning, but pressure canning. This book is the secret. And you won't see many people share this book because this is where they're getting all of their ideas. Let me tell you what, all of those rebel canning videos that you've been seeing, they've been using this book because it is exactly 100% of what they're doing. So yeah, cream of celery soup. This is where all those recipes are coming from. The cookbook is sold on Amazon and worldwide, and the author is Laura Ann Lapp. I don't know if she's Amish. I don't know. She has an Amish name, but that doesn't mean she's Amish. But I'm going to do these recipes, but I'm going to do them safely. You can do whatever you want. You're not going to get it from me. You're going to get it from the book. So that's your decision. You know, in this world that we live in, we have a lot of things that we got to be concerned about. One of the things I feel like you don't have to be concerned about is worry about if you're going to be canning something properly or not. So for me, I am pressure canning them, but we are going to make alphabet soup today, and we're going to can it. And we're going to see what it's really like. Now, I'm going to make two different soups. One of them is for us to eat today, and the other one is for us to can together here. Because the one soup, I'm putting cabbage in it. Now, in the past, I did do a lot of canning vegetable soup with cabbage in it. But I don't really like using a lot of cabbage when it comes to canning. Cabbage can throw off a kind of, I don't know how you want to call it, but cabbage is very strong and it can unseal your jars. It's not recommended that you can food with cabbage in it. I have done that. Now, of course, other than sauerkraut, but cabbage can get kind of gas. It can perform a gas in it. I've never had an issue with it, but when I can for 2 to 3 year shelf life. And so I'm gonna just be safe and can the cabbage in this soup separately. And then I'm gonna can the noodles. We're gonna try it. Now we're gonna try it and we're going to see. So why do I say I'm a rebel canner, but I'm not a total rebel canner? So rebel canning is anything that the USDA doesn't recommend. I've done a lot of studying since I've made that very unique and unusual video I did back in the summer. And yes, the USDA was over the time of World War II and all of that. And no, there hasn't been much provisions and instructions made since that because basically the government isn't putting any money into having that program, you know, more improved. But rebel canning is like canning with the noodles in it. That's what calls it rebel canning. Now, rebel canning is, because it says here, process and hot water bath for 3 hours. I'm not gonna stand at a stove for 3 hours boiling water. For one thing, my propane, oh my word. If I would use that kind of propane to water bath can, for one thing, the expense would be tremendous. Pressure canning, I only have to pressure can my stuff for 1 hour because I'm not adding any beans, I'm not adding any meat. So this vegetable soup will be canned for 1 hour because I'm not adding all that other stuff to it. But if I'm going to be standing there watching boiling water for 3 hours, I would be exhausted, and then I still would feel a little bit not sure about all of it. But I have been watching a lot of videos and people in other countries who do it, and that is great, and I have nothing against that. That is great for them, but I just don't want to have that responsibility on my shoulders. So for me, I take the responsibility really heavy. So if people do things that I say to do, and Lord help me if one person would get sick by that, you know, I wouldn't want to do that. But with pressure canning, I feel confident in saying I'm pressure canning this, but in your house, what have you all told me? Tessie, in your house, you should say you do what you do. And that's right, in your house, you do what you do. I got a whole bunch of stuff out of my freezers, out of my pantries to mix up these soups. So you're gonna see 2 different kettles, and it's all the same soup, but the one is gonna have cabbage in it. And the other one is gonna have the little vegetable noodles. So it says, pre-cook all vegetables and cool before mixing the soup. This even called for a hamburger. I'm not using hamburger. Mix them all together, the ingredients together. Well, that's what we're gonna do, except for I'm probably not going to pre-cook it because all of my stuff is frozen and it's thawed. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Well, we'll see. Okay, so let's just mix everything together. And then yes, I probably will put it on the stove to get really good and boiling hot. And then after that, I will add the 3 cups noodles. I'm not gonna cook the noodles on the stove and then cook them in the pressure canner because they would be mushy. I don't really know how it's gonna turn out, but we're gonna give it a try. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut up the cabbage. All right, so now this is the one that we're going to use to can. So we're going to put everything in here. And now we're just going to do is we're going to put all the vegetables that we found in our freezer. Found 1 vegetable mix, which is good to have. All right, as you see, this vegetable soup has a lot of liquid in it. That's on purpose because we are going to be adding 3 cups of alphabet or small pasta to this. Now I'm going to add this after this is cooked. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this on the stove and cook it for about 30 minutes just to get everything hot, good. And then I didn't season it either. So it's really important when you're seasoning your food not to overly season it if you're going to be canning it. So what I'm going to do is put this on the stove. My other soup is on the stove. I'm going to clean up my kitchen. I'm going to see if I can find some tomatoes. I need some stewed tomatoes for in here. I think that would be really good since I'm not adding meat. There you go. That's what we're going to do. And then after an hour, I'll come back to you and then I'll show you how we put the noodles in it and we'll can it up then. I also am going to add a little bit of onion to it. So I'm going to add onion to both the soups. Okay, we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Soup is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to add a little more pepper in it, not too much. My goodness, it is amazing. All right, so this is what it looks like. I had about 1/2 quart that I just put in with the other soup. So my theory was correct. I don't know how else to put the noodles in, but if you put them in the kettle, they will sink to the bottom. So it was really hard to disperse the noodles correctly in each jar. When I do this again, I will be adding the noodles directly to the jar. So I'm not going to put the noodles in the kettle with all the soup. They just wanted to sink to the bottom of it. I operate 2 canners. I have the Presto on the right, the Tefal on the left. The Tefal are my favorite. I really don't like using the Presto anymore because the Presto you have to stand and watch it constantly. The Tefal will never ever go above pressure because it has an automatic valve that will release steam when needed. You still watch the T-Pals, but not as closely as the Prestos, because the Prestos will just continue to build pressure if you don't turn down your heat. So we have them both going right now, and we'll be done here in about an hour and 15 minutes. I did decide to can it for 75 minutes. I don't think I had to because I had no beans or meat in it, but I wanted to be a little bit extra careful. This was one of the most labor-intensive videos I ever had to do. And my ending thoughts on it all was this. Adding the noodles was great idea, but I will not do it again. Here's why. The longer the jar sat, the more those noodles took up all of the liquid. Absolutely amazing how much liquid those noodles kept taking up. And then they got mushy. So when the USDA says it's not good to can noodles, sometimes they know what they're talking about. Now it is really hot. All right. We're going to taste it and see what it's like. It's hot, like it's boiling hot.
That's delicious.
Does it taste mushy? It's not mushy.
A little bit, it's good.
No, would you do it again? You'd can it with the noodles?
Yeah.
So you're saying that it is good with the noodles?
That's delicious.
So it's not mushy. So when we took it out of the jar, it wasn't as mushy right away, but as it sat on the shelf, it got mushier and mushier and mushier. Now, I think the recipe that they used called for an awful lot of noodles. If you would only use maybe 1 tablespoon per jar would be great. I don't know. But my other vegetable soup was good. The soup with the noodles was very tasty. It just started to take a baby food texture to it. But this was a really hard video to make, and it was worth the effort because it was a learning experience for us all.